My name is Lindsay Hanson. This is for EDUC 633 at Liberty University, and this presentation is going to focus on ethics and worldview, specifically a biblical worldview. Before we begin, it would be important to figure out what is ethics. Ethics is a set of moral principles or a theory or system of moral values. Every company or business should have a written code of ethics for employees and employers to follow. Some ethical commitments given by Reiser and Dempsey in 2018. The first one is going to be commitment to the individual. The second one is a commitment to the society. And the last one is going to be a commitment to the profession. And this is what ethics is. And we're going to talk about this on later slides. But what is a biblical world view? I mentioned that this is a presentation focusing on ethics and worldview. Anderson in 2017 mentioned that a worldview is the foundation of one's believing, thinking, and acting in life that cannot be perceived by the senses. And that is paraphrased by him. That is what a worldview is. A biblical worldview is going to be when all of your assumptions and your morals are in submission to Jesus Christ, the ultimate master teacher. Two truths that are involved with a biblical worldview is going to be first, how God exists, and second, how God reveals himself to be in creation, in the Bible, and also the person of Jesus Christ. Everyone follows a worldview, or everyone has a worldview, whether it is a secular worldview or what we should have is a biblical worldview. I mentioned that we would be talking about ethics in the later slides, and what we're going to do is we're going to break down each of those commitments, the individual, society, and the profession. We're going to start with commitment to the individual. Talking about diversity. Implications are going to rise when the instructional designer does not consider ethical issues of cultural influences. So, speaking of diversity, different cultures, maybe it is disabilities. Allow for open communication and collaboration among the students to discuss different cultures. That is very important. Lastly, about diversity, assistive technology is going to give learners the opportunity to adapt to a learning situation and create an excellent learning experience. And that's a paraphrase by Barak and Green in 2019. Now that's diversity. The second thing, talking about the commitment to the individual, is going to be privacy. Privacy is considered a personal right when you are dealing with ethics. An instructional designer must not infringe on any learner's individual rights in reaction through behaviors. Through technology, a learner's information and progress report should remain confidential and private. We do not want to be giving out information that is confidential to whom it should not be given to. Commitment to the society. We just talked about commitment to the individual. Now let's talk about commitment to the society. Personal gain. Also, I like to call it greed. Personal gain should never be used to actually replace professional gain. So in a company or even in the classroom, we do not want to replace any of this with the professional gain. Guidelines must be followed when an employer or employees are given gifts or rewards to fellow employees. Employers are not actually responsible for the purchase of the gifts that are given to those that are recognized by a company. They are not responsible. Regarding gifts, there should be a cap or a limit that should be put on how many or how much is actually bought. That is personal gain. Now let's talk about professionalism. Employers may interact with outsiders for business or education. That is just what people do in businesses and companies. To remain professional, an instructional designer should exhibit exceptional manners and service to those that will be using their designs. When working with partners in a company, it would be very wise to communicate the desired result and technology that is actually used for the design. That would be not only wise, but that would be professional. This is commitment to the society. And then we're going to finish up these commitments with commitment to the profession. Talking about interactions. It is crucial for employees to report any inappropriate or illegal doings according to a company's code of conduct or code of ethics. Interactions with fellow employees in a company remains open and professional, or at least should remain open and professional. Instructional designers must follow procedures and keep the values of their specific profession. That's specifically talking about interactions. Now let's finish off these commitments with copyright. Copyright seems to be a big issue with instructional designers and code of ethics. Technology can possibly give a temptation to copyright someone's words or graphics. It's basically plagiarizing, taking someone else's work and making it their own when they actually did not do it or say it. It is the duty of an instructional designer to uphold the copyright standards and relay any regulations to other employees. It is very important. A code of ethics should explain the issues of copyright and the responsibilities of the instructional designer. Now that is finishing up talking about the commitments with the individual, society, and profession. Let's talk about ethics in a biblical worldview. Engel in 2019 says, without a strong biblical worldview, Christians may live their lives as if there are no moral standards to live by, acting as if a biblical worldview has no purpose. That is a very important statement. A biblical worldview should be based on the Bible. And this is the next point. Instructional designers should uphold their worldview according to the Bible, so they are not taken over by the evil that is increasing in this society. Lastly, while the 3 ethical commitments are for all companies, or they should be, Christians should especially be ethical in all areas. Verses that are related to ethics and worldview. Talking about ethics, we have Colossians 3:23, Luke 16:10, Ecclesiastes 9:10, Philippians 4:8, and Romans 12:2. Those are excellent verses that are talking about ethics, whether it is work ethics or just talking about what we should or how we should act ethically. Talking about a biblical worldview, we have, of course, Genesis 1:1, Proverbs 30:5, John 3:16, Colossians 2:8, and Romans 1:18. And in parentheses, I have given little snippets of these verses, but I would say look them up, take a chance, look these over about ethics and biblical worldview. I have come up with an ethics acrostic, and I would like to share that with all of you. Ethics, we can break this down. The E standing for everyone, the T standing for taking, the H standing for helpful, the I standing for initiative, the C standing for constantly, and I have the word and there because the S is going to stand for spiritual. Everyone taking helpful initiative constantly and spiritually. And that is the ethics acrostic that I'm sharing with you. On this last slide is the references that I've used throughout this presentation. I hope this has been a beneficial time for you as you look and follow along with me through this presentation about ethics and worldview. Thank you.